So here we are, we've got a quadratic, y equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. And I'm wanting to find all the important points in sketch. Now when I look at this, I notice it's a non-monic equation, which means that I can't complete the square because I don't know how to. So the only other thing I might have been able to do with this is try and factorise it. Now because it's non-monic, the only way to factorise it would have been to have two brackets, so a 2x and an x, and then fiddle around trying to find this constant 4, of negative 4, sorry, and balance everything out to make this 3. But I can't do that really easily, so instead I'm going to use the quadratic function to find my roots. So before I use the quadratic function to find my roots, it's a really good idea to see if I actually, in fact, have any roots to find. So I do that by using the discriminant. So the discriminant is equal to b squared minus 4ac. And if this is in standard form, my coefficient of x squared is a, my coefficient of x is b, and my constant is c. So I substitute into my formula. I replace b with 3 squared minus 4 times a, in this case it's 2, and I substitute in my negative 4 for my c. Now do be careful to make sure you include that negative. Then I say 3 squared is 9, negative times a negative is a positive, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 4 is 32, which equals 41. Now my discriminant is 41, which is greater than 0, and so that tells me that I have two roots or two solutions to this equation. So because I know that, I can now use the quadratic formula to find my roots. So the quadratic formula says x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So then I can start substituting in my values from my original standard form. Negative b means I've got negative of 3 plus or minus the square root. Now you notice that everything under the square root is what I found in my discriminant. So I can just substitute in the final result, 41, and divide that by 2 lots of whatever a is, in this case 2. So my roots then become x is equal to negative 3 plus the square root of 41 on 4, or negative 3 take the square root of 41 on 4. And I can put those into my calculator if I like, so that I get a decimal value, something that I can kind of work with or recognise, or I can just leave them as that for now. Now to find my axis of symmetry, I can either add these two things together and find the midpoint, or I can actually use a little equation. And the axis of symmetry equation is like this. It says the axis of symmetry is a negative b over 2a. And you might notice that that's part of that quadratic formula. So substituting in I've got negative of b, which is 3, over 2a, so 2 lots of 2, and I get negative 3/4. In terms of plotting, it might be easier to think of that as negative 0.75. Okay? Alright, so I found my roots, I found my axis of symmetry. What else do I need to find? Well, I can use my axis of symmetry. That's going to be the x-coordinate of my turning point. So let's go with that turning point. Let's find the y-coordinate. We do that, if this is my x-coordinate, I just need to substitute it into the original formula. So let's try. Y is 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. Let's put that negative 0.5 in all of the x positions. Now I'll need a calculator to figure that out, and mine's just gone flat, so just bear with me while I find a second one. So I've got 2 negative 0.75 squared plus 3 times negative 0.75 take 4, and I've got negative 5 0.125. So therefore my turning point occurs at that x coordinate, negative 0.75, and the y coordinate, negative 5.125. All right, so I've got roots, axis of symmetry, turning point. The last thing I need to find is my y-intercept. I'll do that up here. My y-intercept. Okay, that always happens when x equals 0. So let's take the original formula and substitute 0 into all of those positions. 2 lots of 0 is 0, plus 3 lots of 0 is still 0, take away 4. Alright, so now I've got everything I need and I can sketch. So I should rule up myself a set of axes. Right this second I don't have a ruler on hand, so I'm going to draw them as nicely as I can by hand. Okay. Label them X and Y. Put in those important points. Now it might help if I find those roots. Now I've got a calculator, I can try that. So negative 3 plus the square root of 41 equals all divided by 4. So that's 0.85 to 2 decimal places. And then I've got the same thing but take away, and I get negative 2.35. Okay, so now I can sketch those. So 0.85, let's say that's about here. Negative 2.35, let's say that's about here. Then we've got our turning point happens at negative 0.75, 5.125. And my y-intercept occurs at negative 4, so that would be about there. So then I can try and join those points as best I can, as symmetrically as I can, and as curvy as I can. I'm going to label those points 0.85, negative 2.35, negative 4, and negative 0.75, comma, negative 5.125. And there you have it.